Hey, welcome to Cooking with Benson. So today's video is our first video on the channel officially. We are going to review a set of knives I got from Amazon. These were on sale for about $16.50. They are called Wanbasion. According to the box, these are made in Germany, and like I said, they were about $16.50 on sale. I got them on like a Black Friday sale. It's a set, an entire set of cooking knives. That's very, very cheap when you're looking at cooking knives, because there are some knives where just one chef's knife is going to run you $200 and $300. But as I said in my intro video, I want this to be affordable for people. I don't want people to think they have to have a $300 chef knife to get there. So we're going to look at these $17 cooking knives and see how they are, how they stand up, and I'll be using them throughout these videos and letting you know how they hold up. Now, the key important thing to know about chef's knives, no matter what kind you buy, no matter how much you pay for them, is that don't soak them in water. When you're done with them, wash them immediately, hang them to dry, or wipe them off and dry them and hang them to dry. Do not store these in a drawer. You're going to bang them up, knock them around, you're going to dent the blades, you're going to put notches in the blades. It's just not what it's meant for. Also, pay attention to your knives. Don't cut through bone with one of your chef knives. They're not designed. That's something that we'll look at cheap cleavers later on down the road, because cleavers are designed to cut through bone, whereas these are going to have a finer, thinner metal edge, and so it's going to be easier to chip and nick them. Also, don't cut through frozen meat. Now, I say that, but you will see recipes where we cut through slightly frozen meat. That's different because the meat isn't a block of ice, because cutting through a block of ice could damage your blades. You're talking about metal that's on a hair's breadth in order for you to cut and slice and dice properly. So we're going to open these real quick, take a look at them. I'll let you know how I feel about them, the weight, the balance, the blades straight out of the box. Yeah, I've actually had these for like 2 weeks now, but I haven't opened them because I didn't want to open them before I did this video. But I've been dying to get into them because I actually have a chef's knife that I paid about $15 for at Walmart, and I've had it, I kid you not, for, man, 10 years now. And it's because it's such a good, I think it's a Chicago cutlery knife, and it's just a little 8-inch chef knife, but it's one of my favorite knives that I have. So, all right, this comes with a warranty refund or replacement policy, 30 days money back guaranteed, limited 12-month warranty during which we offer free replacement of defective units, lifetime professional customer support. So, not bad. Cute little warranty card they got here. And on the back says, "Dear customer, just like to thank you for your purchase of our product. If there's any reason you're not fully satisfied, reach out." But it's Wanbasion. It's W-A-N-B-A-S-I-O-N. And they actually have a email directly to their customer service. And let's see. So all the knives come all the knives come individually wrapped in plastic. And as you can see, they all have a protective plastic case on them. This is like a plastic handle. I will say right now it feels very top heavy. You can see it pulling down, but that could just be because of this. But we'll get into it. So open that one. And then there's our chef's knife. I think this is called like a Santoku knife. I can't. This is our bread knife. I'm going to show you a cool trick about bread knives that isn't actually for bread. This is our Perry knife, so kind of like cutting fruits and vegetables, carving things. And then this is our, I believe they call them utility knives. So again, everything's kind of, oh, there we go. So, and that's even with plastic. So I may have been holding it wrong. All right, I took a chance and looked these up real quick. So right now on Amazon, regular price for these is $23.99 for the entire set, and there's 6 of them. So the first one we're gonna look at is this one here. This is the carving knife. So again, it's got, I like these. These aren't, I mean, they're definitely like a cheaper plastic, but they're not, they still feel a little sturdy. So, blade's got a little bend to it, as it should. Especially as a carving knife, because you want to be able to kind of whip around bones and stuff like that as you're carving. I like the black color, looks good. Picks up fingerprints a lot, not a big deal though. I'll say the handle being plastic like this, if it gets wet, it might get slippery, but it is textured, so that's something we'll have to test, is whether or not this plastic handle gets slippery or not. I don't know. I'll say the handle doesn't feel great. There's not a lot of weight to this handle. I prefer handles with a little bit more weight, but what I may do is show you how to weigh this handle down a little bit more, just by maybe either attaching some weights or drilling some small holes and filling it with like a resin or something. But let's take a look. Alright, so you always want the balance to be just above the handle. So I mean, you've got a good balance in the tang there. So, and I will say it feels like the blade runs all the way through these, which is good. You want a full, what they call a full tang, so the metal runs all the way through the handle. You don't want it to get here and then just be a small like metal rod. It feels like this piece kind of curves with the handle. So that's our carving knife. It's got good, carving turkey, you're carving meat, things like that. Let's see, how do I... Blade feels good and sharp. I will probably do a little touch up on it, and I'll show you guys how to sharpen blades. Eventually, I'll show you how I sharpen mine. You can either do it with a whetstone or you can get a sharpener. Feels good. I don't think it, like I said, I don't think it's sharp enough for my taste. I'm very, very picky. A dull knife is more dangerous than a sharp knife, and the reason I tell you that is a dull knife will rip flesh, whereas a sharp knife will just glide through it. 9 times out of 10, if you cut yourself with a properly sharpened knife, you're not going to feel it. It'll still bleed, it's still going to cut you, but it's gonna slice so cleanly and so evenly that you're not going to feel it. You're not going to have a lot of pain from it initially, whereas a dull knife will actually just rip stuff apart. So you want to keep your knife sharp. Sorry, I'm looking for a piece of paper to test this guy out on. Alright, so an envelope. And I mean, it passes that test. It glided right through that paper. It didn't shove, it didn't tear the paper, it cut the paper, so that's good. So out of the box, the carving knife is sharp. Like I said, the blade is very thin, very fine, so that's one thing, is this blade is very thin. So like I said, there's not a lot of weight to this carving knife. Let's hope the chef's knife and stuff is doing it really well. You get into like speed cutting with the knife, you're going to want to have a little bit of weight. So this is a like they call it a paring knife, or a lot of people use it like peel potatoes or clean vegetables, and it literally, the blade is barely the same length as the handle. Now this one is very handle heavy, and that's just because these blades, like I said, they're not thick blades. I will say that's probably going to be an issue. We're probably going to chip these before long, maybe even break one if we're not careful. So again, it's one of those things where I'm going to test these out and I'll let you know along the way if we break one or something. Same blade sharpness as the carving knife. Slices and dices. Again, you're going to put your tang right there. Or not your tang, but you're going to put your balance right there. And that's okay for a paring knife because it's so short, you're going to hold it like that. It's not the weight of the blade that does most of the work in the paring knife, it's you. So this one you definitely want to keep sharp. So, and the utility knife. So on our balance right there. So it's right there. So utility knife, I mean, quick chop on vegetables, something you don't really want to pull out a big knife like your chef's knife and stuff. You could even do a fillet with this one. You could do a fillet with all of these so far because the blade's so thin. But yeah, same sharp. So again, so far all these are really sharp straight out of the box, which is good. And like I said, we'll get into how to care for those. So this guy right here is what they call the Santoku or the Santoku knife. This one's got, this blade is a lot thicker. It's got a lot more weight in the blade. You're gonna find your balance is right there. This handle's good. It feels big in my hand. That's what I like. So the handle actually goes all the way through. I like this one. This has got a good weight to it. I like this. I like, because I usually hold mine like this. I'll wrap down here and then I rock them. So this looks like it would work very well. It's got a good curved blade to it, so it should rock pretty well if you're cutting vegetables and stuff. You know, depending on how you cut. Like some people are up and down, whereas some people are rockers. But let's see, paper. That one went. I didn't realize this one's sharp enough that it cut the paper, and I didn't even realize it cut the paper because it went through so quick. So this is actually a little bit sharper than the rest of them. A lot of people are going to want to know like what the difference between the Santoku knife and the chef's knife is. There's not a lot. The chef's knife is a little bit longer and not quite, and probably a little bit heavier because of the length. But these are good. The same thing that a chef's knife is used for, a Santoku knife can be used for. The difference is the Santoku knife has these little like divots, these bevels on both sides of the blade. So these are ideal for like releasing food. So like you're cutting cheese. If you ever cut cheese, you know cheese likes to stick to the blade. Well, these bevels create like air pockets in there, and so the cheese will slide off a little bit easier. And any food that kind of rides over top of them, these air pockets are designed to help the food release a lot easier. So most people actually don't. I was saying, you know, like this has a good curve on it, so it'd be good for rocking. The chef's knife is actually better for rocking, but I'm going to test these out between the two. But the Santoku and the chef's knife are very versatile. They're actually interchangeable knives. It's just that one big difference is that this has these dimples that help release food better. So let's see. Let's go on to the chef's knife. And you can see why this one will be better at the rocking game, because it's longer and the curve is a little bit more noticeable, so it's easier to rock the whole blade versus this guy right here. So this is the chef's knife. Let's find the balance. So there's our balance just past the blade. This isn't the heaviest knife. This is the heaviest knife. The Santoku knife is the heaviest knife. I really wish, again, I'm probably going to modify these, and I'll show you how I modify them in order to get the best weights out of them and make sure it's something you guys can do at home too. Now, just out of the box, I'm not going to say that's a bad thing. I just prefer a weightier knife. I've got big, ginormous, Bigfoot hands. I just prefer a weightier knife. This feels good in my hand. The handle on all of these so far is nice. The grip's good. I worry the plastic might be a little slippery, but that's something that's easily fixed as well. We can add some texture to it. If I'm cutting, again, I cut like this with a chef's knife. I always guide it like this. So I'm cutting. The tip's nice and narrowed down so that you can kind of work your way around joints and stuff. Like if you're cutting pieces of meat, you can kind of get in there and fillet it. Good sharp edge on this one as well. Okay. Good sharp edge on this one. So far, I'm pretty impressed with these. Like, if I was just starting out and couldn't afford to buy really nice knives, which honestly I can't afford to buy really nice knives. I don't own $300 knives. I'll never own $300 knives, even if it's a dream. That's a lottery situation. These are nice. It's a nice set so far for them to be even not on sale under $30, under $25. The blades, like I said, do feel a little thin, but that's a weight thing for me. I wish they were a little bit weightier. But I think once I get used to them, that won't be an issue. So, chef's knife. I like that even for under $25, they came with these little cases. Now, I bought one a while back, one of the magnetic rods. that sits up on a wall, and I can stick my knives to them, because ideally that gets them out of the way and keeps them protected. So this is our bread knife. Honestly, for a bread knife, this has really big teeth on it. Most bread knives you're gonna buy aren't gonna have such big teeth. This is gonna be great for slicing through like a thick crust on a piece of bread. The reason that these are bread knives is like a chef's knife or the Santoku or any other knife, when you're trying to cut through, those require a sharp weighted cut, whereas this one, it's a hacksaw motion, so you gently hacksaw through it, and that keeps the bread from getting crushed. That's why there's a difference between a bread knife and any other knife, and why you would use a bread knife for bread. So I told you I was going to give you a little bit of hint or a trick or a tip for what I do with a bread knife. So that is cutting tomatoes, and I'll explain that to you in a minute. So there's our balance. Usually I'm talking about a bread knife that doesn't have such big teeth on it. I haven't tried one of these on a tomato like this. I'll have to give it a shot. But those bread knives, kind of cheaper bread knives that have the much smaller teeth on them, if you have a super ripe tomato, instead of using the weight of the knife or the sharpness of the blade, if you take a bread knife, you can gently saw through a tomato, because what happens with a tomato is once it's overly ripe, the skin gets tougher almost, and so you can use this to gently slide through your tomato. Bread knife cuts tomatoes great. So overall, my view on the Wanbasion knife set, under $30. It's a great price, and so far it looks to be a great set of knives, especially if you're starting out cooking, you're just learning to cook, or honestly you just don't have the money to go out and buy a $50 knife or a $20 knife, just one knife. You need a full set. Most people turn around and spend $80 on those block things, or $50 on the block things, and yet it's nice to have the blocks. It gives you somewhere to put your knives. But with these cases, that's cool. You can put them somewhere safe. But like I said, the big thing about knives is don't soak them in water. Don't leave them soaking overnight or anything like that. Once you use them, wash them, put them out to dry, or dry them off and put them up. If you can afford a magnetic bar, I think you can get them pretty cheap. I think I paid maybe $25 for mine. And you could hang that up in your house, and then you've got a place to just stick your knives, and it gets up away from the kids and stuff. So far, like I said, they have some issues. They have some flaws. I wish they were a little bit weightier. I wish maybe the blades were a little bit thicker, but for the price that I paid for them, they look like they're going to be good knives, and I think we're going to get some good uses out of them on the cooking videos. So hope you guys enjoyed this review. Again, if you're looking for these are the Wanbasion. It's Wanbasion, and it's the 6-piece chef's knife set, I believe. I'm sorry, the Wanbasion 6-piece matte black titanium plated knife set, stainless steel, forged kitchen knife set. And these are supposed to be scratch resistant, rust proof, for cooking, paring, cutting, and slicing. So hope you guys enjoyed this review. It's our first video for Cooking with Benson. We're actually going to get into some cooking eventually pretty soon here. I've got a couple recipes I would like to do. I do know one of the reviews coming soon is going to be a cheaper cast iron set of pots and pans that I found. But for now, we've got our cooking knives to start out this year with, and we're going to see how well they do. And you know, if they fail, they fail, and we test out a new other cheap set and go from there. Hope you guys enjoy this one. Until next time.